Dangerous heat on the way, how intense it's about to feel. And when our next weather maker brings the chance for severe storms.
Plus, a new superintendent. Why some people in Johnston County say the hiring process was unfair. Then a push for new rules on THC products. We go in depth on the bigger issue to limit ingredients in infused gummies and drinks. Supersonic flights, what could pave the way for travel faster than the speed of sound in North Carolina, and the concerns. All righty, great to have you with us here at 7 o'clock. I'm Dan Haggerty. We all want what is best for our children and their schools, and sometimes that means having some hard conversations. Enter Dr. David Pierce. He is the pick now to lead Johnston County Schools, the district's new superintendent. Here he is this afternoon, right after he was voted in. But not everyone on the board was on board. WRAL's Monica Casey was there for the conversation. Monica joins us there now. Some people on the board think that this process, Monica, was rushed. What do they mean by that?
Well, Dan, this vote was 6-1, and April Lee, the one school board member who voted against Pierce, says she believes the district should have done a nationwide search for its next leader. Now, that sentiment has been echoed by some members of the public who wrote to the school board, urging them to delay any appointment until a search was completed. Their meeting today started at 4, and 45 minutes after a closed session, the decision was made. After the vote, board member Jeff Sullivan said he also struggled with his vote.
This is not about a vote for a search. This is about the person. So that's why I was a no walking in today, but I changed this because it's about supporting the person that I believe can do the job.
Pierce is currently the Assistant Superintendent of Administrative and Auxiliary Services. He's been in that role for about 5 years. Pierce will take over as superintendent on July 1st, and his term runs through July of 2029. Live in Johnston County, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
Thank you, Monica. Hey, let's get you caught up on some of the other big headlines today. These are the 5 things you should know right now. State lawmakers will move ahead next week with a bill to provide more relief for Helene recovery. A House bill passed a bill a few weeks ago, but Senate Republicans said it has to be part of the state budget, something the two chambers just can't seem to agree on. Senate Leader Phil Berger says the Senate will take up the standalone relief bill before the July 4th break. A Raleigh elementary school employee faces child abuse charges. Deputies arrested Betsy Maddox, who works at Smith Magnet Elementary School. Investigators didn't really give the details on what happened here, but we know she is suspended with pay during this investigation. Here's a weird one. Lawyers for the singer R. Kelly want him to be released from Butner Prison in Granville County. He's there serving a 30-year sentence for racketeering and sex trafficking. Court documents filed by his lawyer claims the jailers are threatening his life. Another document claims that Kelly overdosed on medication and had to go to Duke Hospital. The Federal Bureau of Prisons declined to comment on his condition. A man is in custody after leading Edgecombe County deputies on a chase this afternoon. You got Sky 5 over the scene there. Deputies stopping Melvin Rumpf for an expired registration, but he sped away. He crashed in Johnston County and then went to the hospital. Deputies say Rumpf was driving under the influence, now faces multiple charges. A new federal complaint accuses Campbell University of race and sex discrimination among students. The group that filed the lawsuit wants an investigation into the school. Campbell University told WRAL they have not received a complaint and cannot comment. So the big story at the North Carolina Capitol today, the new rules on THC products. This is the stuff you can buy at Total Wine or at the local smoke shop down the street, the things like Delta 9 gummies or THC-infused drinks. These products are all over the place. And the state Senate wants some regulations, a 21 and up age restriction. Right now, anybody can buy them. Limits on how much THC can be in a single product. A ban on synthetics, so like the Delta 8 and Delta 10 derivatives, and mandatory licenses for growers and sellers. Now, I know some of that Delta talk can be a little confusing, but let's not get bogged down with the technical stuff. Tonight, let's talk about the why behind this bill. Some lawmakers will say it's about protecting kids and people's health, and there is some truth to that, of course, but there's also something deeper going on here, too. You see, this bill doesn't ban these products or the THC that they're getting from the hemp. It just sets some ground rules that don't apply to THC from marijuana, which remains illegal across the board in North Carolina. So why does hemp get this special treatment? To find the answer, Let's follow the green, shall we? And go in depth. Call it the weed wars, the cannabis clash, the THC tussle, the dank debate, the Kush conflict, whatever not so clever title you want to use. It's true, this whole thing is a bit of a rivalry. Marijuana versus hemp. You might even call it high stakes. That was our favorite one. We've gone in depth on THC products before, specifically THC drinks. We talked about the difference between marijuana and hemp and why the hemp THC drinks are legal in the first place. Spoiler alert, it's because of a loophole. If you missed that story, you can check it all out on the WRAL YouTube page. Now, lawmakers could close that loophole if they wanted to. Some states are, or at least making it smaller. Nebraska, Florida, Alabama, Massachusetts, Texas, all of these states seem to have it out for hemp and coincidentally have something else in common: legalized medical marijuana. You see, in Texas, the medical marijuana companies spent big money on lobbyists to push the ban on hemp-derived THC, and it makes sense. Just look at business. If marijuana companies can stop hemp, they can stop competition. That is good for business. And in North Carolina, it's kind of the other way around, the other side of the coin. State lawmakers block medical marijuana here all the time. WRAL has covered this year after year after year. Meantime, the hemp industry is exploding. Between 2018 and 2022, North Carolina went from 0 licensed hemp growers to 1,500. The state agriculture department predicts that farmers that grow hemp for these CBD oils, they could earn a gross profit of up to $35,000 per acre. That's not bad. North Carolina is all in on hemp. It's invested, and so are some of our lawmakers. Representative John Bell, for instance, this is the chair of the House Rules Committee, but he's also the president of a CBD company, Asteria Labs. It's located in Nash County, CBD that comes from hemp. He brought WRAL on a tour of that facility last year. You're taking a look. Now, Bell was also just named to Governor Stein's new advisory council to figure out how to regulate THC in the state. And when you ask him about it, he seems to think that hemp and marijuana can coexist peacefully.
I believe that with proper regulations, both industries, the hemp and CBD industry and the medical cannabinoid industry, could exist in North Carolina. Not only could exist, but be a very big business here in the state if it's done right.
If it's done right, right? That always makes it tough. What does that mean exactly? Well, let's consider this. House Bill 328, the bill placing rules on THC from hemp and keeping it legal, is clearing hurdle after hurdle in the Senate. This is legislation that fully understands that these products can get you high, and right now it's got some serious momentum. Hemp is on the move. But then there's House Bill 1011. This is the latest proposal to legalize medical marijuana. This bill was introduced back in April, and it has been stuck in committee ever since, just like every other marijuana bill that makes it to the House. Despite the fact that polling shows North Carolinians want medical marijuana. A WRAL poll last year found 70% in favor of it. A Meredith College poll from February found 71% in favor of it. It is a confusing argument. Getting high from weed is a public health concern. Getting high from our booming hemp industry, well, we just need a little regulation. I have some other ideas as to why hemp seems to be winning the weed war, cannabis clash, or whatever you want to call it, but I would like to hear your thoughts. Send me an email, dan@WRAL.com. Tell me what is on your mind. We want to hear your thoughts and your questions. So much to talk about in this space. Let me know, and we'll go in depth. Still ahead, let's get high in a different way. Up in the sky at supersonic speeds. An executive order from President Trump has a jet maker in North Carolina prepared for takeoff. And something else that flies may be in trouble. Fireflies. It is a shame, too, for our children and for our inner child. We're going to talk about it in tonight's One Last Thing. Kat?
Temperatures are going up, rain chances are going down. There's one day that's an exception to this, and I'll outline that change coming up.
Hey, all right, welcome back. So over the past week, we have heard so much about Jet Zero. That's that jet maker that's made zero jets. Hey, they're working on it, okay? First, they have to build the factory. Then they can build these futuristic-looking jets. They're sold as energy efficient. They save fuel and therefore save money, maybe Cheaper ticket prices, doubtful, but we'll see. Either way, it's a multi-billion-dollar project promising to bring 14,000 jobs to Greensboro, a town that has kind of become this hub for aviation. You got Honda Jet, they've been there for years. Jet Zero is now the new kid on the block. And then there is Boom Supersonic. That's the neighbor that people weren't so sure about at first, but now everybody wants to be their friend. See, Boom Supersonic builds planes that go beyond Mach 1, supersonic speed, faster than the speed of sound. And they have actually built these planes, as you can see. They've done test flights and everything. The problem was the test flights took place in military airspace because otherwise flying faster than the speed of sound is illegal in the United States. And it's been that way for decades. But that's about to change. And it's all because of a new executive order from President Trump. Order up! Executive Order 14304 is titled Leading the World in Supersonic Flight. It calls on the FAA to repeal prohibitions on overland supersonic flight. It also calls for some new rules to manage supersonic flight, to reach deals with other countries so that these jets can fly overseas, and to advance research and development. It has Boom Supersonic saying boom goes the dynamite. They're excited. But it isn't going to happen right away. The FAA has until December to repeal that ban, and then until December of 2026 to come up with some of these new rules. Or Congress could pass the Supersonic Aviation Modernization Act. Both of North Carolina's senators, Tillis and Budd, they introduced this, and right now it is in committee. All right, so they want to make supersonic flight legal again. But why was it banned in the first place? Flying that fast can be super convenient. Right now, a flight from Newark to London takes 7 hours. Boom Supersonic's plane could cut that to 3.5 hours. That is fast. So what's stopping us? Why has there been this ban for 52 years? Well, it starts in 1947 when the rocket-powered XS-1 took flight. It was the OG supersonic jet. Fast forward to 1963, JFK announces the Supersonic Transport Program, the SST, and the goal was to build a passenger plane that could fly at supersonic speed. The problem was that sonic boom. That big, loud shockwave created by something moving faster than the speed of sound. And these booms can be dangerous. In 1968, during a supersonic flight demonstration in Colorado, the sonic boom blew out 200 windows at the Air Force Chapel, injured a dozen people. The government did a bunch of studies and a bunch of surveys, and they found that people were too worried about sonic booms to continue with the project. In 1971, Congress passed the ban on supersonic travel. But overseas, supersonic flight was just getting started. Maybe you remember this plane, the Concorde. It is iconic. The pointy nose, the skinny fuselage, the sleek wings. It was as fast as it was flashy. The Concorde flew a blistering Mach 2.04. Mach 1 is the speed of sound, so Mach 2 is 2 times the speed of sound, or in this case, over 1,300 miles per hour. While doing some research for this story, we found a video of the day the Concorde landed at RDU back in 1986.
The wait was too much for some, but most just kept their necks craned. Finally, it all seemed worth it.
Wow, indeed. The plane was a beast, and it was a beast to maintain. 6,700 gallons of fuel per hour. That is 6 times more than some passenger planes that fly today. And tickets were expensive, about $12,000 a seat. Today, that would be north of $67,000, and you'd probably still have to pay extra to check a bag. Think about that. Put a down payment on a house or take a quick trip across the Atlantic. Concordes don't fly anymore because of the cost and because of this. A Concorde airplane crashed in France in the year 2000. During takeoff, the plane's tire burst, sending a big chunk of rubber into the fuel tank. The fuel caught fire, the engines failed, the plane crashed, and all 109 people on board died, plus 4 more people who were on the ground. You add that to the big drop-off in international travel after 9/11, and the airlines just decided it was over for the Concorde. So what do we make of all of this? Supersonic flight appears to be coming back through Boom Supersonic in Greensboro, and we should say the tech has improved. The company says it can minimize the sonic boom now. It's called the Mach cutoff. The planes hit supersonic speeds at a higher altitude or bounce the boom back into the atmosphere so it never really hits the ground. And NASA supports this science. They use the technology for their own supersonic aircraft. And multiple airlines have already put orders in. They think this is going to work out. Pair that with support from the president and both of North Carolina's senators, and the skies look clear for takeoff. Kat?
Let's take a look outside at the skies tonight. It is gorgeous in Lake Gaston. That water looks awfully inviting after the heat that we have endured today. We had 93 for the official high out at RDU. And our current temperature sitting at 89 at RDU, 86 in Cary, 85 Apex, 84 Holly Springs, 83 in Chapel Hill. It's warm out there, but at least we're out of the 90s now. And the radar is nice and quiet for us tonight. We have no rain anywhere in our viewing area right now. This is a nice break from these daily storm threats that we've seen. Tomorrow, rain chances drop to 20%. We're back up to a 60% chance on Thursday. And then after that, check this out, a completely dry weekend in the forecast. So Thursday is going to be the next focus. That's our next weather maker. Even then, Thursday, a lot of the day still looks dry. In the morning, we'll wake up to dry weather likely on Thursday through lunchtime, no issues. We could see maybe a stray storm or two at 4 or 5 o'clock, but the better chance for storms really looks like it's going to move in late Thursday evening into early Thursday night. The main concern here, these storms could have some damaging wind gusts, and because of that threat for these downbursts, there is a level 2 out of 5 severe weather risk on Thursday, and that automatically means it's a WRAL weather alert day. We consider them under a level 1 risk, but we always issue one when it's a level 2 risk. The timing here, 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. Just remember, it's not going to storm that entire time frame. 40 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts possible, perhaps some hail, but it's really wind that would be the main concern. For tomorrow, we're mainly dry, so it's the heat that's the issue tomorrow. 87 at 11 a.m., but feeling like 97. By 3 o'clock, we should reach our high of 96 with a heat index of 105. Once we get to the evening hours, it stays toasty. Even at 5 o'clock, the heat index still sitting at 102. Town by town, the heat index could max out in the triple digits between about 100 and 105 for the Triangle Point South and East, even Roxborough. 97, your forecast heat index for tomorrow. Your 7-day 90s across the board. Lows 70s across the board. So it stays hot, it stays humid. I will say there's one exception here. Friday, we see just a little bit of a dip in temperatures. It's still going to be hot out there, and it could be slightly less humid, Dan, but that would put us in the steamy category of the muggy meter instead of the tropical category of the muggy meter. So we go down a little bit, but it's still going to feel like summer.
It'll be a brisk, nice 91 degrees. A question for you, this is kind of random. Did you ever used to catch fireflies when you were a kid?
Oh, absolutely.
Put them in a jar?
Yep, they were all over Lake Norman this past weekend, and we were sitting outside watching them all evening. Well, you're going to want to watch this next story, because if you love them like I do, fireflies, lightning bugs, whatever you want to call them, either way, these little guys are in trouble. Their populations are shrinking, but maybe there's something we can do about it. It's our one last thing after the break. One last thing to talk about tonight. One of the most beloved animals in our state. I'm not talking about dogs or cats or bears or wolves. No, I'm talking about fireflies. My wife and I were talking recently and asking each other, where did they all go? I just don't seem to see as many of them anymore. I convinced myself that maybe when you grow up and the magic of youth fades a little bit, you just stop noticing those sorts of things. Unfortunately, the truth is much sadder. I'm from West Virginia, and back there we call them lightning bugs. There's nothing more beautiful on a summer night. Kids running around, catching them, filling up one of Mom's mason jars. It's just such a quintessential summer thing to do. Every year, Grandfather Mountain hosts events for people to come and see the synchronous fireflies. They come out right around this time every year. What makes these fireflies so special is that they synchronize their flashing light patterns. Thousands of people come to North Carolina, to the mountains there, to see this every single year because it's mesmerizing and beautiful and just a gorgeous part of nature. And you might want to book your trip now, because fireflies in more populated areas are dying. Their populations are decreasing, and doing so because of people, because of drought and habitat loss and pesticides. All of those are problems. One of the biggest problems, though, is light pollution.
You see, fireflies, they glow for a reason. They use that little blink to communicate. Different light patterns mean different things. They attract mates, they warn of predators, they defend their territory, and if there's too much ambient light around, so your house, the porch lights, your cars, street lights, well, these little guys can't communicate. They can't defend themselves. They can't reproduce. And then there aren't any more of them. A recent study analyzed this in excruciating detail and found that we may be the last generation to see them light up in certain areas, and that it might take a drive to the mountains just to see one. How sad is that? So what can we do? What can you do in your backyard, for instance? Well, you can turn off the outdoor lights, avoid using pesticides out in the lawn. There's also groups like Cersei Society. Their mission is firefly conservation. Look them up, spend some time, search their website a little bit. They have all kinds of projects that you can get involved with to help save our fireflies. There's nothing better than the beginning of a summer night. The kids are off school, you're sitting on the back porch, they're running around catching fireflies. Let's keep that, don't you think? Thanks for joining us here on WRAL News. We got our next newscast at 10 o'clock on Fox 50 and at 11 on WRAL. A beautiful shot of White Lake tonight. Good place to be when temperatures get this hot. Thanks for being with us and have a great night.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.